The National Sewage Program is an initiative that is being carried out to address the issue of raw sewage being introduced into the environment in East End. In this video, Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Communications and Works, Mr. Anthony McMaster, and Sewage Engineer, Mr. Alva Francis, will go through the state of the project as dated on this video.
Ms. Stumble, I'm glad that you can join me here today. I have also with me Mr. Alva Francis. He's a sewage engineer at the Water and Sewage Department, and he's been working with us at the ministry now for the last 3 months. He's actually taken over the charge of directing the sewage upgrade infrastructure, the sewage infrastructure upgrade project. And so we are now here by what is the site for the Rotown pump station. And I'll allow Mr. Francis to tell us about this site and how it all incorporates into the National Sewage Program.
Okay, this site we have here is the main pump station for Rotown. So all the sewage from Rotown is eventually going to come to this location right here. This structure we see over here, kind of like the canopy, this is where the existing pumps are, right? These pumps are going to be replaced with new pumps, which are going to be submerged in this pit you see here, right? So the new pump station is actually going to be in this location. It's going to be installed using prefabricated circular rings that are going to be dropped one on top of the other to a depth of about 15 to 20 feet, right? So from here now, all the sewage, the raw sewage from Rotown is going to be pumped to Bird Point, so that it can be treated at the new treatment plant. And that basically is the extent of the work that Biowater is going to execute. However, to get from here to Bird Point, we have to install a new pumping main, which is going to be a 16-inch HDPE pipeline, right? That is going to run from here all the way to Bird Point as well. And then from that location now, the treated effluent, which is the result of the treatment process, is going to be pumped to Slaney via a marine outfall line, right? Some 700 feet beneath the sea. And that basically is the extent of the scope of the remaining sewage works for Rotown. In terms of sewage, this is basically going to solve a lot of the issues we've been having in the past with sewage overflows, based on the pump shutting down as a result of debris going through the impellers and whatnot. I'm not sure if you can see over here, just by the gate, the chain link gate, the chain link fence gate, there's a screening chamber there that all the sewage is going to go through. It's going to be screened prior to coming into the well. So that is going to significantly help it's going to significantly reduce the amount of shutdowns that we're going to be having in terms of the pumps failing and whatnot, because all the sewage is going to be pre-screened prior to being pumped to the treatment facility.
One of the other things that, Mr. Mula, we've actually been introduced to from Mr. Francis is a clog-free sewage pump system. Previously, the pumps that we use, anytime any material, clothing, old diapers, pampers, bottles, cans, anytime they got into the pumping system, they would clog the pumps, shut them down, and as a result of that, the system would actually go down. Mr. Francis, can you tell us a little bit about the clog-free system?
Okay, clog-free pumps is a new type of pump technology, which basically allows the heavier debris and materials to go through the pump as opposed to being blocked, right? So in other words, the impeller is basically, it can basically move in a vertical motion to allow bigger pieces of material to go through it, right? It's also going to have like a shredder, a grinder, to cut up material such as ropes and stuff like that. So in other words, it will prevent the pump from shutting down as a result of, bigger debris trying to go through it, right? Before our traditional pumps, you find when we have stuff like sanitary napkins and rags going through it, it would basically bend the impeller and shut down the system completely. And as a result of that, we used to have a lot of overflows all over the city. So now with the new clog-free pump technology, these pumps will be able to run efficiently without clogging. As the name says, it's a clog-free pump, so it won't clog, it will continue running. Right? Apart from that, we're going to have a new standby generator. So even in situations where we have tropical storms and hurricanes and whatnot, right? When the national grid has shut down, we're going to have a backup generator to allow that sewage to continue pumping, right? So we won't have these continuous overflows that we used to have before in the past. So we're here at Paraquita Bay. This is the site for the construction of the sewage treatment plant for the eastern area. Over here, you could see a reinforced concrete structure. All the raw sewage from eastern is going to be processed through this tank. It's called a retention tank, right? So everything is going to go through this tank. It's going to undergo primary settlement. From this tank, it's going to move to what you call the main processing tank. This is where the main treatment is going to happen, the secondary treatment, right? So the sewage is going to be refined at this phase, right? After this phase of the treatment process, the sludge, which is all the solid matter, right, that is going to accumulate as a result of the treatment process, is going to go through this green tank we see over here in the distance, right? So the sludge now is going to settle in that tank. That's what you call a sludge processing tank, right? And over there in the distance, where you see these wooden pallets over there, this is where the treated effluent, the final effluent, right, which is the result of the treatment process, this is where it's going to settle and be pumped all the way to Brandywine Bay. So this in a nutshell is the layout of the sewage treatment plant in Paraquita Bay. Like I said, this treatment plant is going to treat all the sewage coming from the eastern area, and ultimately the final treated effluent is going to be pumped to Brandywine Bay through a marine outfall approximately 2,500 feet from the coastline. The capacity of this treatment plant initially is 250,000 gallons a day, but it can be modularly increased to an additional 250,000. So ultimately it can treat as much as, it will be able to treat, as much as 500,000 gallons of sewage per day. And that in a nutshell is basically what is happening here at Paraquita Bay.
We're now back at Eastern. This area would be Long Swamp, basically just outside of the old Domino's gas station, and we're continuing with the National Sewage Project works here. We began this segment, which we refer to as segment D. We began this segment at Fat Hogs Bay, where we were putting in a 18-inch drain line, which is a drain, and it comes all the way down to Long Swamp by the police station. And it goes from about 8 feet where it started at Fat Hogs Bay, and by the time we get to the Long Swamp police station, we'll be about 18 or 20 feet below sea level with this drain line. So as you can see, it's very dangerous work. The guys are actually walking in some depths as much as 16 feet below sea level, and they have some shoring material there which actually protects both sides of the road from caving in, so they're able to continue with that work. As a part of this project as well, we have a force main to go in, which would take the sewage. All the sewage basically comes from Greenland, Eastern, up to the Stickett. It all comes down into a pump station that we're going to be installing here at Long Swamp, and then it's going to be pumped through a force main down to Paraquita Bay to the treatment plant where we were just a few minutes ago. That treatment plant is now actually being constructed, and that is expected to be completed by the end of July and be fully commissioned. We're working expeditiously to get in the drain, and then it will be followed by the force main. The force main itself will go from Paramtown all the way to Fat Hogs Bay with a short stop at the pump station here at Long Swamp. One of the things that we did recently is that we actually put a dust control measure in place, because we realized from the amount of work that's going on, the excavation of the earth, there's a lot of dust on the road. So what we did is from Fat Hogs Bay, where we started, up to the intersection taking us up to Long Loop, we put in a thin layer of asphalt that would actually control the dust, so that the residents in that particular area wouldn't have to be concerned too much about the dust at this point. We're also going to be taking that dust control measure, and we're going to be following this project all the way up to Long Swamp, because even as we're completing this, we still have other sections to complete that would prohibit us from reinstating the road totally by the Public Works Department. Following the installation of the sewer main, we also have the upgrade of the water mains that's going to be going down the same area as well. And then we're going to be putting in edge roads with slipper drains and curb walls so that we can finish the product as we've looked at Kingston. And we're also going to be looking at Beef Island, where we put in the sewage line, we upgrade the water system, and then we come back and we finish the roads with the slipper drains and curb walls so that we have a full package at the end of the day, and the project will be completed. This project is gonna take us from where we are now to the actual asphalt being laid on the road about another 4 to 5 months, we anticipate.
You have been watching On the Road with Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Communications and Works, Mr. Anthony McMaster, and Sewage Engineer, Mr. Alva Francis. Thanks for tuning in.